God.
Something got smashed.
Hey, guys, thanks for your patience while we sorted through this technical difficulty stuff here. Welcome back to Mike on a Platter. We obviously had a few little buttons that didn't get pushed. Stupid thing. Anyhow, but we have Paul Romanowski with us. And want to say thank you, Paul, for coming back on.
No sweat.
So Paul's here to talk to us about SeaSpiracy. We're also going to talk about some funny police stuff. Ha, ha, ha. Would you call it funny?
A little bit.
Crafty.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Crafty.
Yeah?
Crafty.
Okay, all right. Anyhow, but you guys, thanks for joining in. And thanks, Spirit America, for putting this out for us. And thanks, you guys, for hanging out for the little difficulty we had. If you want to subscribe, our button's right down there. Go ahead and hit it. If you like the video and like what you hear, please give us a like. And also, everything in here is opinion for the most part. Some is fact and some's not, but we do our best to try and be objective about it and see if, all sides. So anyhow, you saw the movie or the documentary, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one you love so much
There's
that
the
you
look.
praised about. You raved about it. You're like, dude, watch it.
Yeah. I gotta watch this, right? Yeah.
So you hit on the 90%
Okay.
thing.
Yeah. So
That's
we've been.
over what?
This is much the same rehashed garbage. This stuff's been going around forever. I mean, literally half our lives we've been told that 90% of the fish. This is something that came back. The first time they started to utter this stuff was, like the 70s and 80s. But then in the 90s, it really grabbed a hold, and they were telling us that, 90% of the ocean's been completely depleted. 90% of the big fish in all the oceans have been removed. And yet the catch rates don't show this. Fishing technology shows, and then what a lot of people are seeing is that records are still falling as far as fish being caught and taking records. If you're taking all the biggest specimens out, nobody's going to be catching world records, and yet records are dropping and dropping and dropping. They keep falling. They keep getting the bar keeps getting raised. We talked a little bit the last time I was here about how bluefin tuna have made a resurgence off the West Coast. Well, since they come out with this stuff and their big panic attack, some fishery changes, which is management. It's not a shutdown. It's management. It's not a prohibition. We've seen a lot more tuna in our waters because they're not getting that pressure. And then also, it's just one of those things you don't understand where all of their cycles and patterns take them over decades of time. Nobody's really sure still to this day where everything goes and how everything turns out and how it all works. And so we hear this, that 90% of the stuff is all wiped out, and yet it doesn't play out. They told us, another 20 years it'll be gone. Remember, global warming, we're supposed to be sitting underwater now. Mm-hmm. There's beautiful signs up in Santa Barbara up on the beach that were saying, like, by the year 2000 and something, the ocean level will be here if we don't do anything. Yeah, bro, they had to remove those signs because the water's right back where it was. It never changed. It's like it's not done, so it's not like overfishing on certain species. Certain species are very vulnerable. Certain species, they cannot handle that kind of pressure. Certain species, you won't see the damage until it's kind of too late. Mm-hmm. You got great concern about sharks being overfished and stuff because they're slow growers, they're slow breeders. And they're lightweight reproducers. Sharks in general don't create a lot of sharks. They make enough, and the one thing about them is they have high levels of retention. So sharks that are born tend to make it to adulthood than tuna.
Okay, so that's actually a good point right there. The whole shark thing. Now these guys made like a really big deal about how many sharks are being killed. Like, it made it look like every shark is being
for
killed.
Their fins.
And yeah, for their fins. And that, obviously that's pretty gnarly, the whole shark finning thing, right? That's gnarly.
Yeah, and realistically, if you want to talk about mitigating it, number one, you're never going to stop it. If you want to stop shark fin soup, you have to eliminate the Chinese, kind of like off the planet. So let's just assume it's not going anywhere. There's going to be some shark fin soup. The question is, are you utilizing the rest of the shark? That's where the problem comes in, is if the fishermen are not utilizing the resource, all of it. Mm-hmm. When you're dumping sharks, I do have major problems with that. And like here, we've made great strides about bycatch, about utilizing more of our bycatch and stuff. And the problem is those guys are unregulated, and they're allowed to go global. and there is nothing that anybody's really doing about it.
Okay.
So yeah, that is a big problem. But quote unquote, how do you fix it? I mean, are you going to go out and find the boats that aren't doing it and sink them?
Well, obviously you can't kill all the Chinese, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, what are you going to do?
No,
you know?
no.
I mean, right? And are you going to
nothing
literally?
against the good old Chinese folks out there.
But I mean, there have been a lot of countries. You know, Australia started sinking boats, started sinking illegal fishing boats.
and I think
really,
that's what the Sea
Yeah.
Shepherds were doing on that film, right? The Sea Shepherds were going out and sinking whaling ships, right?
Well, they're ramming them or whatever. They haven't really put any into the ground. So I mean, they've damaged them and taken them out of commission or whatever.
Are those like Australian ships or
No, they're catching like Vietnamese and Taiwanese ships. So they they got motherships that'll go down. They ferry fuel for them, and the motherships, like when I worked on tuna fishing boats, like the boat we were on is 200 something footer. That's small. That's small. I mean, it's a big one, but it's small. You'd see some of the processor boats out there, and they're 600-700 footers.
Hey, do you have some of the George? Do you have any of the reviews of that documentary that you can pull up on the web that talk about?
Well, they say that a lot of I mean, look at what it says.
Okay, hang on a second.
It was launched last week.
That view is. Let me fix that view. Okay, hang on. You got your thing up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep talking anyway. So it was launched last week, and it's on Netflix's top 10 most watched films. So it's trending, right?
Well, but the thing is, it's literally been out or been hyped up for several months. So I mean, people have been seeing it for several months. So
yeah, and there are a lot of celebrities that are praising it, right?
Right, you know, nonsense.
Yeah, a lot of shit, and people saying that it's blowing their minds and they're seeing the world different, and they got to do something. But
what is it they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I gotta know, what are they gonna do? You're gonna close down sushi bars? Go. I mean, I'm all for it. Go ahead, guys. If that's what you want, you're gonna make it a rule. You got to go catch your own fish. I'm good with this, bro. I'm fine. I'll eat like a fucking king.
Let me see if I can pull up that web view real quick, because that's some good data right there. Okay, here you go.
Right here.
Go ahead.
Starting right here.
All right.
So
Tesla's hiring, by the way.
Yeah.
Look at 2,500 per paycheck.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. So it tells you about the film, the director, filmmaker. Let's see.
No, what about the part about actual amount of fish population that's been taken down? The real true facts and the actual the damage to the fishery. What's the real damage?
Number one, you can't know. All right, because the ocean, as vast as it is, we're still and in the documentary they tell you about how we know more about outer space than we do our own ocean. Okay, they still don't know. And when they were doing all the tuna assessments and the stuff when it was looking like bluefin tuna were basically going to be wiped off the face of the earth, right? And there was a mad panic about a decade ago. All right, so they're going through that stuff. Since then, they found that there's like 5 new places that they've got breeding colonies, like breeding populations.
Okay.
And what it is those tunas are migrators, and they go to those given places. So in the past decade, they've found 5 new places that they never knew that they had giant populations of tuna going there breeding.
Okay. So I know that they have the grow out pins and all that stuff. That's kind of doesn't really work, does it? The whole grow out pin thing.
No. It's not even the grow out pins are a drop in the bucket. That's like saying that solar is going to power California.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
never, ever, not even close.
Okay, George, on that website, did they have any numbers? Like what the actual numbers or that website that you pulled up, was that just talking about the actual?
Yeah, it's just talking about the film.
Oh, just talking about the film in general and the dolphin
false claims,
tuna label and all that stuff.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so like the biggest argument, like what they keep going back to with Watson from Sea Shepherd and stuff, and he's going, no, you just basically have to stop it all. You just can't have it. It's like, that's a great theory, but where are you going to get your protein if you're not? I mean, because if you think of what it takes to grow feed for everybody else, chickens are being given fish meals. So you're going to grow chickens. How long does it take you to go grow chickens? How many chickens you're going to have? Chickens are really susceptible to disease. Pork is susceptible to disease. Cattle. How much ground you got to clear for all these other things to work, right? And what do you got to do to feed those things to then have us eat them?
Yep.
When it's all said and done, if you're talking about footprint on land, you're still better off eating a few large animals. You're still better off for what it takes to grow a cow to the given size, the sheer size of them and stuff, and what it takes to feed them. You're still better off growing a couple of cows and and eating those, then
Okay,
you are.
well, that's actually another good point. What about soy, like soy protein and getting protein from soy?
Well, I mean, cool. Okay, how much soy you got to grow? How much water? How much viable land?
Right,
How much
okay.
you giving
Yeah,
up?
no, good enough.
You're gonna bulldoze where this house sits. This was farming land at one time. So what are we gonna do?
Right,
Flatten everybody's houses, displace everybody to go back to farming?
And I think there's some ratios out there about how much water it actually takes to grow soy versus how much water it takes to grow grass that cows eat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and the inherent thing is that the renewability of the resource. Okay, fish. You go out and you catch a fish. Tomorrow there's another fish there. You know, they breed massive numbers. As long as the fish are hitting fecundity, means you're not taking them beyond what they can replace themselves, then you're not going to run out of fish.
Okay, so that's the whole taking the interest, not the principle, right? And there was a concept that was in the film that I actually liked, is that one baker kind of talked about the whole concept of you don't take from the interest, you only take from the principle.
Right.
And
but
that's been kind of skewed a little, though, wouldn't you say?
Sure, because you don't know exactly what it is, and then the recovery. Okay, like if you farm and you're farming something that's heavy and hard on the soil, you've got to fertilize, and you got to fertilize and fertilize and fertilize. You got to fertilize big, and that's for one season. And you have to kind of do that every year. And every couple of years, you got to let the ground go. You can't run it every year. Then it's got to go fallow for up to 5-10 years. Some crops just won't pull, or you've got to switch crops and move them around and stuff. All right. So when you're talking about fish, it's 6-8 inch fish, man, and they grow that big in a year, and they have 50,000 babies, 150,000 babies in that same year. So every one that you're taking, well, let's say one half, right? Because one of them's a male, one's a female. Every other fish you got's creating 150,000 replacements. Now I know they get
and I have
mowed
a
down.
theory on that, actually. You know, if you look at how the fact that the ocean, in its vastness, it's also the biggest oxygen producer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the amount of fish that can come out of there, because the oxygen feeds the phytoplankton in the algae blooms, and then those feed the tiny fish, and then on up the food chain. It seems like the biggest food chain is the ocean.
By far. There's nothing else even close to comparing. And the thing is, 90% of the oxygen and all the quote-unquote work that's getting done is in the top 20 feet of water. Below that, it's basically isolated. That water's got to get to the surface before it does the job. But the water that's down low, the less oxygenated, it's less of the stuff is forming.
Okay, but you saw the net dragging thing, right?
Yeah.
The floor dredgers, how deep are they going with those things?
Trawl nets can go pretty deep. I mean, depending on what it is, there's different net systems.
Okay, and would you say that that's like making a big impact?
It used to, for sure. They've changed how they do it. I mean, they've gotten them better. Now, the biggest trawl fishery in California is halibut.
Yeah.
All right. So now they've got video, and to have it certified by the state as being allowable, they had to redesign them, and so they've got video out now how the net is not plowing straight through the bottom. It's bouncing, but it's hovering. It hovers up off the bottom. It'll always make some contact. To say that you can't is a lie. It's like saying you'll drive and you'll never have a car accident.
Okay, but what about all the sponges and the corals and everything that's down there?
The way that they're trawling, they're avoiding that with what they're doing now, and bycatch is being avoided, and they're also utilizing bycatch a lot better. The biggest thing is they need to get laws that'll say that you mandate that you have to utilize your bycatch, because there are uses for it. If you're talking about making fish meal, if you're talking about making fertilizers out of it, if you're going to wipe it out, but then again, everything you pull up out of the ocean floor is going to feed something else, even if it's rolled back over and sinks back in.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those old DFG things. It's like, hey, dude, you shoot a fish that's undersized, just don't bring it to land. Just put it back in the water.
Put it back in. The old story, crabs got to eat too, right?
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, but that's the thing, is if you're going to be netting it up and it's not going to match your targeted market species, then utilize it. It's not like there's not a utilization for it. You know?
Right.
And so, but the difference is like, okay, so if you want to pick a major crop, corn, wheat, soy, whatever, how long would it go on its own? How long would it recover? How long would it produce that you could go and utilize it again? If you grew corn, you cut it down, is it going to come back next year? And if you turn a good part of your crop under and it's not a hybrid and it's it's an heirloom type, then it'll come back if everything is right. But it's not going to come back in the same numbers as your farmed crop. So you go out and you net fish, and fish do their natural thing. They're going to breed. They're going to repopulate by themselves without any help from you at all. At all. So it's there and it's been utilized. I mean, that's why you have people catching fish worldwide that have been catching fish for thousands of years. And you go, well, they're just catching little fish because there's no big fish. No, in the beginning, nobody was catching big fish. There was no viable way to stop big fish. I mean, they're a handful. You know, you're not going out and you're not putting a net on, you're not putting a little shoreline net that's catching perch-like fish and croaker-like fish and stuff. You know, that net's not designed to handle no 500-pound fish. He gets in it, he just wrecks it. Yeah. That net leaves, it goes away. That fish is wrapped. It might kill the fish, but the net's gone. In general, your commercial fishermen, you know, they talk about the nets being lost. That's long lines and stuff mostly. Like your trawl nets and stuff. Guys nowadays, trawl nets are very expensive. Gear is expensive. Nobody wants to lose gear. So they're trying very hard to fish in ways that they don't make contact, that they don't snag up gear and rip nets apart. It's unavoidable in some cases, but you don't see them fishing as they did more so when it was kind of a gold rush. Especially
so in the documentary, when I think they said that the trash island, right, that patch, it's made up of like 50% of nets.
Right, 45% to 46%.
Is that true?
Right.
You believe that?
Yeah, if you're gonna count by volume, by weight, yeah, I'd say it's there, because the thing about the nets is the nets are nylon, so they're going to be pretty durable. It's nylons and polypropylenes, right? So they're going to be pretty durable. Whereas the overwhelming majority of the actual trash that goes in is not nets. But what happens is it all breaks down fast. Yeah. Breaks down much faster than people think. And what they're talking about, like microplastics, right? So microplastics is a real situation. It's a real problem. But what you're finding is that the plastics do break down. They do wind up settling down. They're heavier. They're going to go down. And so it's a problem. It's a problem for certain animals, obviously, a lot more than others. But in general, those plastics are breaking down. Can they change it? They can always make changes to stuff. But then it's like also how viable is the stuff? Because you make a plastic that's not good enough, it doesn't have a secondary use. Yeah. You know, you really need, like, I mean, when you look at like what our grocery bags are now, right, versus what they had, it was like paper, and then they said quit using paper because you're ruining the trees, you're killing off all the trees just to make paper bags, and they switched to plastic, and then they found out that the bags are pretty good, but now you got plastic everywhere, hither and yonder.
Okay, that's another good point on that show, was the whole plastic thing. So they showed some staggering numbers of dissolved plastics in the water.
Yep. A truckload dumped in the ocean every minute.
Okay, and then not only that, but actually plastics that are not completely dissolved, but still stuff that animals eat and they wash up on the shore with everything in their stomachs and all that.
Well,
what about that plastic issue?
I read an article that I think last year that they said that every shrimp that you eat has some form of or trace of microplastics in it. Every shrimp that you've eaten.
Okay.
And I didn't know how true that was. I'm like, okay, that's pretty crazy. I mean, for every shrimp,
take a look.
That you eat.
Where's the mass majority of your shrimp coming from?
I don't know.
Farmed in Thailand.
Yeah, farmed in Thailand. Even the movie showed that. They showed those huge shrimp farms.
So the thing is that in those places, that's where you literally have the most of your plastics being dumped into the ocean are from smaller nations and stuff. Like the United States, dude, we don't put that much plastic in the ocean as where we put a lot, but by per capita, we're not putting nearly what some of those other guys are doing.
And where's that coming from? Is that's not coming from fast food though, is it, right?
Or it's from it's from everything. Bags, all the plastics, everything. It's like if you were to really break it down and go through it, you know, water bottles are a huge part of it. But that's the thing is like if they build a water bottle too cheaply or so it breaks down too fast, they can't second use it. You go to foreign countries, they tend to second use that stuff a lot, you know, because they're so limited. I mean, you go to Fiji or Tahiti or something.
Recycling the plastic, you mean? Recycling it?
Yeah, I mean, they're recycling it, but I mean, secondary use it. Yeah, they're using they get a bottle of soda, man. That thing's holding water for the guy. It's going on his fishing boat. It becomes a bailing scoop. It does a whole bunch of other things before its life is over. So how do you make it, you know?
It's like all your recycled bottles up there, Eric.
Yeah, so...
Which ones?
All the recycled bottles you have up there, in the cans, the glass.
Recycled cans, bottles. Oh, let me see if I can catch a view of that.
Oh, and someone from it's Claudia. She said, can you give a shout out to the Fathomers?
Yeah, of course we'll give a shout out to the Fathomers. Hey, Fathomers.
We know those guys.
Thanks for tuning in and listening. We're having a blast up here. Thanks for putting up with all the craziness.
What about the Neptunes?
What about the Plutos?
They're good. They're good.
What about Saturn? What about the Neptunians
They
and the Plutonians?
they put on a good show for us last weekend, man. We were down at the Yellowtail Shootout with Seamus and those guys. We had a good time. They were really good to us. They were really good to us. We had a great time. So
it's always been a friendly rivalry, right?
Yeah, it's a rivalry. We tease them, they tease us.
That's the way.
And they're
it
from
works.
Long Beach.
Good health.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're sitting in their home turf.
Yes, exactly.
Come kick me off my pedestal, boys.
Yeah, that's
Come knock me off my stool.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but so much of what that show is talking about, and they're sitting there talking about like so much of the mercury in the ocean is coming from us, and it's like, dude, there's so much mercury floating around in the ocean without us, like naturally occurring. They make a lot of the stuff sound as like though none of that ever happened before us. The only thing that you can say that was in the ocean that was never there before man would be the plastics. All right, because that we pull out of petroleums. But there's plenty of oil that naturally seeps into the ocean. Anybody remember Tar Beach? Anybody go to Los Al?
Oh, yeah.
You know, growing up as a kid in Huntington and having tar stuck up the side of your legs.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Santa Barbara. So there's billions of gallons of oil and stuff going in there. And one of the things that they talked when they hit on that stuff, they were so, environmentalists were so depressed over the Horizon spill, the Deep Horizon explosion and spill, right? Because they collapsed that well. And the funny thing is, they were going, the fishery's going to be dead, everything's going to be gone, blah, 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 blah. And they're going, it's really strange that in 6 months, there was a total resurgence. It's like, so you're telling me that you're spilling oil in the ocean for, what was it, 2.5 months that thing went? Something like that, right? Nonstop. And so you're telling me you dumped all that oil in there for a couple of months, and then 6 months fisheries were all closed down, and they open up, the fisheries are like better than ever. It's like,
that's crazy.
Oh, so then you didn't destroy the fishery. You didn't destroy it at all.
Well, you know what? And I think that just goes to show that there's, when you watch a movie like this, now, I'm going to say SeaSpiracy, yes, you're bringing a lot of good things to light, a lot of good issues to light. You're bringing some stuff that needs to be focused on, okay? The killing of the dolphins and the whales, the shark finning, okay, all that shit's pretty fucked up, okay? I don't think anybody's going to argue that. But when you beat it down to the point where it's like you're making it into this doomsday thing where it's like, oh my God, the whole world's going to end over it. Time out, okay?
Yeah.
Time out for a second, okay? There's plenty of other good human beings on this planet that are trying to make a difference and are actually regenerating the oceans and actually regenerating populations. So it brings the whole vegan agenda to mind, Now, I was a vegan for 3 years, and I know
My condolences.
I know what it's like to want meat when you're sitting there going, I'm just gonna.
So I gotta ask, when you were a vegan, and like everybody's grilling and you smell that steak burn and you're going, son of a bitch, right? So I gotta ask, when the fucking neighbors, when your neighbor's running a lawnmower, do you like get hard? Or you like, God, that cut grass smells good, I want to go eat that shit?
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna go chew on that grass like a cow.
That didn't happen, right?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
So it's just checking.
But when a neighbor next door had that barbecue going, it's like, oh.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, every cell in my body was screaming for it, and I know that there's some vegans that they don't have that craving, and I can't relate to it because even when I was vegan and I was being committed to it for the 3 years that I did it, eventually I broke. Someone had a T-bone steak with some freaking Italian sauce on it, Italian dressing, and they're like, come on, Eric. I'm like, no, I'm gonna come on. All right, I'll take a bite. That was it. It was all over.
So what do the vegans do when they go to Mexico?
What
do the vegans do when they go to Mexico?
Suffer.
Dude, beans and rice, bro. And
beans and rice, right?
Go right ahead. I mean, you can have at it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I can't go to
There's
Mexico.
There's a lot of good vegetable dishes down there, but I mean, it ain't shit without a little bit of something
I know,
in
serious. No, but the whole point was, okay, I can appreciate, wanting to try and make a difference. You want to eat vegan. You don't want to eat animals. You love animals, whatever. Okay, I get that. I get the whole perspective there. But to exclude one is to exclude all, okay? If you're saying this is my way and there is no other way and that's it, and you push an agenda that pushes that, come on, man. Come on, really?
Yeah.
Think about it for a second, okay?
Well, I mean, you got to look at the counter side of this. Everything that they're hyping off of that movie is all about raising money for their team, for their stuff. It's not about getting the job done. It's not about getting the cause. It's about, like, you know, you see the boat that Sea Shepherd runs. That thing don't run on you know, unicorn farts, right? It's like they need huge amounts of money to keep that program going.
Right.
You ever see the car the guy drives? It's not a Prius. He's not driving around in a Honda Accord. Don't kid yourself.
Well,
on
and
this
that
stuff,
brings
you
up a
know?
whole nother subject. You know, it's like, okay, if you're truly going to be, you know, and I know in contemporary years, in the past decade or so, they've equated it to carbon footprint. Okay, what's your carbon footprint? Well, the truth of the matter is, if you don't want to have a carbon footprint, get your fucking ass out to Alaska and camp out like those rugged motherfuckers. And then let's talk about carbon footprint.
Still gonna
you know
be burning firewood. You
yeah.
gotta stay warm somehow,
Yeah,
bro. It gets
right.
chilly up there, from what I understand.
Right, but the point being is the firewood that came
Sure.
to the grocery store that you bought didn't go through a whole process
Right,
that
exactly,
added
yeah.
layers of carbon footprint
Right.
to it. And all the food
Well,
that you bought at the grocery store didn't have layers of carbon footprint
Right,
that got it
exactly.
processed, wrapped in cellophane on a styrofoam tray. You get the picture, okay?
Oh, yeah,
I don't have
yeah,
to go
yeah.
on with
oh,
this.
yeah. No,
Okay?
it's, I mean, you look at you look at what
Jorge's like, oh.
yeah, you look at what it takes to run industrialized
Oh.
farming, food growth and food collection, resource, you know, necessary resource collection. You look at it and you look at land sources. Now, if you really talk about it and what it's going to take for renewability, and then what are you getting out of it? The ocean is self-sustaining. Okay, there's nothing else on land that's self-sustaining, unless you're talking about what we talked about before, fruit trees. Okay, an apple tree, an orange tree, whatever. That's going to produce every year, but you got to get the tree there in the first place. But that's only one type. You know, when you're talking about going to get proteins and stuff out of plant matter and stuff, you've got to start searching. You got to start hunting. Then, you know, okay, so you want to have a cleaner world and all this other stuff. That's cool. How much pesticides does it take to make something grow? Because, like, you ever try and grow spinach around here? Dude,
No.
if you don't spray, you get no spinach back, bro. It gets up about so high, and then it gets raped by the bugs, and it's gone.
Oh, the bugs love it, do
Oh,
they?
they love it. They just hammer down on it. So yeah, so you're not going to get it, you know. And so that's the thing is, like, if you're looking at it and you want to live a better life, blah blah blah, you know, you want to go pesticide free or minimize that stuff, then you actually have to minimize the crops that you're using. And it's not like having a crop is gonna not kill animals, because believe me, man, when you look at a combine and it's running through a field, every field mouse is running the gauntlet. Every deer that goes to sleep out there, coyotes, whatever, if they're in the way of the combine, they're getting mowed up, man. Rabbits, everybody's, they're getting chewed up. Birds, ground birds going through, they're getting dusted out. Plus, for every inch of dirt that you're farming with, you're displacing some other animal
Of course, yeah,
to
yeah.
grab that dirt, you know, or you're displacing some
you're
other
changing
natural plant.
You're changing the natural environment. You're
Exactly.
enviroscaping.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, and it brings up a really good thing, and it's to bring it back to the whole SeaSpiracy thing. Okay, here's a great example: Southern California versus, was it Peru?
Yeah.
Remember when they had the nationals in Peru?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect example. You got it. We talked about this the last time you were here. I think we talked about when Renee went down, and he was part of that, and the 5 mile stretch. Renee Rojas was down there. The 5 mile stretch of pristine environment, and the longest fish that came out was like this.
Right.
But there's plenty of pressure here too in Southern California, but we have a fairly healthy fishery. There's been some depletions, right? You know, there's
Yeah,
maybe been
well,
some
and
reef
the thing is
masters
we've-
taken off, but there's
Sure.
a healthy fishery.
But-
So
but
so the point being,
There's, you know, the geographical area is what the large fish are and what their retention rate is and what's their replenishment rate. Which the bigger reef fish are, the slower they tend to grow, the longer it takes to get them back. But then what you've had down there is you've got local fisheries that have been doing it the same way for hundreds of years, and for a lot of those areas, the coastline is not developed, but they're able to fish it, and you know, they've seen repeatedly where it's overfished because they're targeting a certain species because it pays too well or something. And the other thing is, like, Peru is king when it comes to Peru and Chile are king when it comes to like the anchovy fishery.
okay,
You know, they're and us, and we're kind of a microcosm because between them and us, we have like 3/4, basically like 2/3 of the world's supply of anchovy.
yeah. And
and
so my
sardine and
whole
stuff.
argument on that is it illustrates that there's the ability to sustain a fishery. And if you look at Southern California, I think in general our fishery is fairly well sustained. Wouldn't you
Sure.
agree?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, how
Number-
many boards have you been on? How many commissions have you
Oh.
been on? How many task force have you been on? And you see that there's the possibility to maintain a good, solid, healthy fishery.
Oh yeah, there's no two ways about it. I mean, and then when you look at our closures, how ridiculously overreactive our closures are. Like, okay, take rockfish and cow cod, especially in general. Okay, so cow cod are right here in our home waters. They run between, traditionally it was about 400 to 850 feet deep, is maybe 1,000 feet. That's where we're catching our cows. They were susceptible to overfishing over time. It was a long time, and the guys really fished it. And the problem was they picked on certain areas, certain breeding zones, and they used netting process that were pretty aggressive. And so they really hammered them, right? So then they shut them down. And everybody was complaining, saying this thing, and that you're shutting it down, and what you need to do is reduce the fishery and limit the entry, but not shut it down. And they said, no, we're going to shut the thing down because it's going to take 50 to 100 years for these fish to come back. Minimum 50 years, but more like 100 years before they come back. And that's your best scientists. That's your, quote unquote, the best available science, right? Okay, we're getting ready to open cow cod now after 20 years. Because now they're not catching them at 450, bro. They're catching them at 300 feet. Because literally the volume of the fish has restacked and come up. And they're filling the water column to the point that they've expanded their range from where they're really, they're kind of compressed down to like their favorite area, right? Or that most critical zone. But as things got better for them and their population expanded, they just move into different areas and more areas. So now all of a sudden we're looking, the Fed lifted the regulations off of it, and the state's just got to get in line. So now the state has to develop a fishery. It's coming. It's opening in the next couple of years.
Okay, so the moral of the story is
management, not closures. So that's where this guy was completely wrong.
So yes, exactly. And that was the point that he made at they were making throughout that. It's like your option is to eat less fish or eat no fish at all. But I think they were leaning towards just stop eating fish. And it's
everything in there was explaining to you that how bad the virtues are of eating fish. It's like, that's what they kept rolling back to. Yeah, they had several people in there that were pretty logical about it, and they were like, no, that's not really going to work. And that's the reality, is it's not going to work. And so your best bet is to have more people involved and on board and making some reasonable measures for your commercial fisheries. And then you can promote different types of fisheries.
And you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll throw them a bone, okay? I'll throw them a bone right now. All right. Yeah, okay, we got to limit the intake a little bit and supplement with some more sustainable fruits and vegetables if they're out there, which we've already proven, in this conversation, maybe through our own experiences. It's hard to attain, but it's not impossible to attain, so maybe a combination of the two. But if you really want to make a difference, it's a human population thing.
If you're going,
it's a human population thing, and I've said this on this show a million fucking times, and I'm going to say it over and over again. There's too many people on this planet. That's the problem. You can't stop people from eating. You can't stop people from wanting to stay alive and fight for their own survival.
Yeah, some people depend on fish.
Dude,
like
what are you
a lot of societies,
what are you talking about, man? Like 2/3 of the world, that is their primary protein.
Yeah, and some of them have work because
of that. You can't, if you're going to a place like, if you're going to a place like Peru or Chile, you see those hillsides, what it is? What are they growing up there? They grow some chickens, they got some goats. They don't have a lot of other stuff because it can't handle it. That land can't produce. It can't produce what it takes to produce large land animals. That's it. I mean, how much space are you going to devote to smaller animals and grow them? They need lots of food. They need lots of feed. They grow fast. They regenerate quicker. But I mean, how many rabbits can you grow? You know how many rabbits you got to eat? How many chickens you got to eat? How many you grow? Once you start getting into those kinds of volumes, what do you get from overcrowding with chicken at big poultry farms?
Same thing with overcrowding with pigs and
that's
cows.
Right. You start getting diseases. I mean, you look at China, and what do? They burn up half the chickens in the whole country every couple of years. They get a disease runs through them, and they got to wipe out 1 billion chickens at once. They had to wipe out half their 60% of their pig population. They had to kill it off, not utilize it. Dude, that's wasted resource right there. If you're going into the ocean, you're picking and choosing, you're taking what you need, you come back. As long as you're managing what you're going to do, pound for pound, you can't beat it size-wise.
You know, I'll tell you what. Okay, so here's the moral of the story from my perspective. Okay, we need a human management plan. Okay, fucking human management plan.
The last
right?
one, the last real one ended in 45. We got ones coming. Don't worry.
Yeah,
It'll take
no,
too
I know.
long.
Well, you know, COVID's taking a stab at it.
Oh,
but,
come on. COVID is nothing.
I know COVID.
Wait a minute. How many people didn't die from the flu this last year?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
exactly the same
Yeah.
amount of people that died from COVID, right? Okay. I'm just saying.
On par. Death mortality rates for COVID was on par. Vince brought in the stats when Vince was on here. Vince James, dude, fucking very well read guy.
You got it from Fox News.
56 and under, okay, age range, 56 and under. Mortality rate on COVID on par with the flu. What's the message? Anyways, the message is that's not going to be a good management plan for humans. Sorry for throwing that out there.
And conversely, though, how many people died of the flu last year?
I don't know. Do you have the numbers on that?
Miraculously low, right? Like as in a 95% drop. So
hey. So what are you saying? Are you saying this is the flu?
You want to call it one thing or the other, bro? I'm saying. So wait a minute. COVID's at the door. I can't answer the door for the flu, right? COVID's at the front door. The flu's at the side door. I'm just gonna go.
Okay, but you gotta admit that COVID is freaking the
no fun.
flu's nasty cousin. Okay,
it's no-
like
it's no
seriously
fun.
nasty. You know.
It's got an interesting set of side
Dude,
effects.
shout out to the Van Molen family. Doug just went down, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it's
But even though that happened, and god damn, it's heartbreaking. I mean, the numbers just aren't there.
no, and
I got another theory on that actually.
yeah.
My theory is that the reason why the United States is already coming out of it, and all these other countries are going fucking bonkers, at least some of them, is because everybody listened when they shut down. The United States didn't listen. Everybody's like, fuck you. We're not doing that. So we got a combination of herd immunity. We got a combination of vaccines all working together.
Dude,
and all of a sudden we're dropping off.
All Europe completely shut down. Canada's still shut down. See the price of plywood? They shut everything down.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. And my point being is, we shut down, but we didn't really shut down. I mean, how many people were actually shutting down?
No,
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
No, we blew that shit out,
Dude,
right?
but everybody...
Italy shut the hell down, and they suffered regardless. That's the thing.
I know. Everybody here got sick.
Life
and
still
they got
goes on.
over it. They
Right.
got
Life
over
still
it,
goes
and then we
on.
started getting immunization. Now we're over it. We're getting through it. I think it's a combo thing. I think that's what's going to get us through it.
They monetized it. And
well, that's what happened. As soon as they monetized it fucked the whole thing up.
Exactly.
Did you see that all the anti-maskers are going to start wearing their masks around people who were actually vaccinated?
Just to spite them.
Yep.
Good.
So the people who were
That's
never,
so rad,
the
dude.
people who were totally against masks are going to start wearing masks.
Perfect.
Dude, that's so rad. Hey, Poppy, can you grab me another one of those modern
of
times?
course.
I would love you long time.
Yep.
Like, seriously, love you. Thank you.
So, like, I mean, you know, one thing that people talk about, like, as far as fisheries, big commercialized fisheries versus localized and privatized fisheries and stuff, it's like people have there's something there that they have to realize when you talk about like land farming versus fish farming, is how many calories of energy get used, how big of a carbon footprint in the total scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
What's it take per pound of fish? So when I hear guys talk about, to me all the time, you know, we spearfish, therefore we're the most sustainable because we have the lowest bycatch and stuff. And my question is always,
Show that label, dude. Show that label real quick. Sorry, Paul.
Hold on.
Hang on.
What is this?
This is
Dead Man
Belching
Beer?
Beaver from this is the Deftones Phantom Bride India Pale Ale. I love that
Deftones?
label. Yeah. Dude, hang on. Put that up to the mic, motherfucker. Put that up, dude. Look at
To
that
the
shit.
mic or to the camera?
Yeah, right.
Same difference in my mind right now. That is such an awesome
Wow.
honoring the Deftones. Love the Deftones. Sorry, Paul. Continue.
Okay. So, you know, I have guys turn around and tell you all the time, you know, it's like, oh, you know, we're the most sustainable, and I kind of chuckle and I go, you don't realize how environmentally unfriendly you are as a diver sometimes, and they get all butthurt and pissy with me. It's like, number one, what's your wetsuit take to make? You know, what's your wetsuit and your fins and your masks and all these things take to make? You're making a bunch of plastics for yourself.
Yeah,
yes,
pretty
it's
much.
reusable and it lasts. But here's the big thing.
Hey,
Okay,
go ahead.
guys want to go out and they want to fish, and they go, yeah, well, I only take like one sea bass, you know, every couple of trips or whatever. It's like, oh, you do, huh? So how many gallons of fuel you burning for that fish? Because when you look at the total outlay of energy to get your fish, this is the real question, okay? And this is where private fishermen get all whiny about it when they go, no, we just stop commercial fishing and everybody will be fine. The answer is no. You're not good enough. And
Okay.
I'm pretty good as a diver, and I'm pretty good as a fisherman, and I've done it on both sides. And I can tell you right now that if you've ever gone and dove with me where it's hammer time and we put the screws to it real hard, we put a lot of fish in the boat, and people will go, "Why the hell are you doing it?" It's like, dude, if your trips are limited, make it count. Okay.
Yeah,
Guy
of
goes,
course.
yeah, but we don't burn. You know, we are all so selective in this and that. It's like, but you went out and you burned fuel on 3 trips and you got 1 tuna.
Yeah,
And
it's not-
each trip you ran, you burned 100 gallons of fuel.
Yep.
You burned 300 gallons of fuel for 1 fish.
Hey, shout out to the cliff divers, all right? Okay, you drive your
Right,
car to the
exactly.
cliff, right? 20, 25 miles to the gallon, right? And then
There
you
you
fucking
go.
hoof your ass off and burn your
That's
legs.
it.
You go get your fish. You go back up the cliff. Yeah, hey.
Paddle out on your paddle out on your plastic Navy, exactly. So yeah, so this is the reality of this crap, and you guys will tell you this. You know, we'll go for this super great trip, and this is what we do, like diving for a discount. What is it? Diving for a cause? Diving for a discount? Right? It's just a perk game.
This and that.
We flew on a jet. We burned thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of jet fuel to haul us and our shit down to the middle of nowhere. And we took 1 fish responsibly. And then we painted a fence and we saved the village. What the fuck was that? You're so full of shit, man. What a fucking waste. If you're going to show up in town, go in like the goddamn Romans.
Yeah.
Slam fish. Get in there and be an absolute whore in the water. Make it worth the while that you're flying down there. Those fish, that miserable fish that these people are talking about they shot, that fish is worth 5,000 gallons of fuel to get you and your sorry ass there and back. Bro, what an embarrassment. What a waste. When you say you're saving the environment, you're doing that shit, I don't buy any of this crap.
Yeah.
Get ready for it. In the end, it's resource management.
Do your carbon footprint math, okay?
That's right. That's exactly right. And when you boil it down and you tie it up, everything comes down to resource management. When you talk about what they do, what they're talking about, enslaving people, boat permits, closing places off, that whole thing, right? That shit's all really real. And what it boils down to is environmentalists who have vested financial interests and other fishing, and they put it into fishing industries and not just environmentalists, but all different types of businesses and everything, right? Drug cartels in Mexico have been doing this for, better part of a decade or two now. So what they do is they take all this other money and they put it into it. And the big thing, like with the environmentalist edge on this thing, they go in and they cry, the nets are bad, this is bad, that is bad, close the fishery down. They close the fishery down. All those guys are out of work. So now what do they do when you're in a small village and you can't fish? Well, you go to swinging a hammer for like $1 a week? That's literally what happens. That's literally what happens, okay? So then a few years pass and the dude loses his boat and he sells his permit. They come in and they go, hey, we'll buy your permit from you since it's of no use to you, no value. And the guy goes, okay, that's fine. You're going to give me $500. I can't make shit. 500 is 500. Okay, boom, fine. He takes his 500 American dollars. He not happy, but he had to. Well, then all of a sudden they wait a couple of years. This is the turnaround on their investment. They come back and they go right back to the government who they paid off to shut it down in the first place. And they go, we need to test it and see how it is and see how it's going now because we believe that the biomass is recovered. So all of a sudden they get experimental permits are allowed. Who's the permit holders? Not the guy that lived there. So now whatever entities bought those permits come back to the same poor schlub on the beach and go, Eric, you hate swinging a hammer, right? And you go, yeah. Would you like to go back to fishing? Of course. Okay. I have a boat you can run. It looks just like your old boat. You want to drive it?
Yeah.
I know you used to make $100 a day. I'll give you $10 a day.
Smell the
It's
slime
so
on the
much
wall
better
already.
than the $2
Yeah.
for the hammer.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And then where's the profiteering go? It's just been extracted out of it. It's resource management. Don't ever kid yourself when you look at all of this crap. It's resource management. They closed down the desert to off-roaders. Why? Well, now they're leasing the California desert where we used to drive our trucks to solar and wind farms, to solar panels. We used to drive our trucks. We used to camp, go hiking. Oh, there's plenty of other places you can go hiking. Yeah, but you want to run a truck through the desert. You need some space to stretch that thing's legs. Yeah, well, we had to save the milkweed, so we had to close you guys down for 20 years, 25 years. Why did they close for 20, 25 years? Do you know why that's the magic number?
Why?
It's a generation. What happens in one generation?
You forget.
That's right. Your daughter will never know some of the things that you knew as
Dude,
a
we
kid.
just talked about that. Who was in here and we were talking about that? About
Guy?
Guy was in here. Guy was in here last week and he was talking about how it's a strategy. It's a strategy of erasing memories and then you can re-script
Yep.
how history went. When we were talking about the God damn it, what was the name of those is it Tartarian? The Tartarian
Yeah.
buildings. Okay, did you see our podcast last week? Probably not. Okay, anyways, no big deal. I still love you. The Tartarian buildings are
My bad.
under the level. Paul, I fucking love you, brother. It's all good.
It's all good.
Anyways,
drunk.
underneath the ground, there's buildings that got buried under flood muds, right?
Yeah, so every 300, 400 years there's a flood mud, and it erases, or it covers this building, right? And then new settlers start to build on top of that.
Right.
And they keep whatever's underneath a secret. And then when it gets uncovered because they're going to build more, or they're, fucking going to install something.
Layers on top of layers on top of layers, right?
And it just shows that, whatever was before isn't being talked about. And
Right.
why?
It's
because
Right.
it's
It's an opportunity
gone.
to rewrite history
Yeah.
and make people forgetful of how things actually
Yeah.
were.
And don't ever kid yourself or con yourself into not believing that it's not a big game of resource management and control. It's resource control. All right. It's
You know what, Paul? You got me so fucking fired up. I think we need to do our chum. You want to do our chum?
Oh, if you want to.
Dude, let's do our chum right now. This is a good one. This is a really good one. Let me see if I can get this main view. Yeah, hey, the main view's up. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Let's do our chum. Can you cue up our chum for tonight?
It's there.
Okay. So our chum tonight is as soon as you get up, you can announce the,
I got
the
it.
topic.
Don't worry. It's
okay.
weaponizing copyright.
Okay, explain it.
Okay.
So no, very very briefly. So we
Okay,
then we can
so
go into
lately
intro.
with all the police brutality going on, police have found a way to kind of
claims of
cheat the system by playing copyrighted music.
Oh, you guys, you know what? That calls for a chum intro. I'm gonna do a chum intro.
Here comes the shark. Yeah. Nice.
Whoa.
Hey, okay, now we're in chum mode. Yeah, chum
my
mode.
God.
Okay, talk on, Jorge.
All right.
Tell him.
So with all the police brutality going
Alleged.
on, yeah, exactly. Police have kind
Hyped
of,
up.
Yeah, exactly. So police found a way to kind of keep themselves out of the viral world, by playing copyrighted music whenever somebody's recording, right? So people are upset because they've recorded police officers, all over the country playing music on their speaker, on their phones, because they know that when the algorithm picks it up, whether they're live or they post it, it'll flag it and it'll keep them from posting that video. So if the cops get caught doing something they're not supposed to, right?
Oh dang! Oh
then
dang!
it's like, okay, but then you watch these videos and the person that's fucking videoing, it's like you can't even blame the cops for being upset at these people because the person fucking filming is like, I can do what I want. I can do. I'm within my right.
Yeah,
I'm within my right.
Dude,
fuck cops. Fuck
I
pigs.
would not want to be a cop and having
And
to
the
deal
cops
with
are just
fucking
standing
50
there like,
cameras
can you
in my
please
face.
just
like
get
fuck
away,
off.
So they play the music and people are just like, you can't play that, you can't play that, right? And it's like,
Oh
fuck.
my god!
Like,
Yeah, back up, fuckers. Let the dudes do their work. Hey, bring up some of that shit, dude. Bring up, you got to show that, dude.
all right, let's see.
Okay.
I got a couple videos here.
That is comical.
Dude, totally.
All right,
Okay.
here, look, here's a video on YouTube. We probably won't hear it, but the
But-
people will hear it.
Yeah, there it goes. There it goes.
Let's see. Oh, you see, so this dude's playing music. This one's the one where he's playing "Yesterday" by the Beatles.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, dude, that's perfect.
Beatles, right? Yesterday, cracked your noggin with a blackjack all day.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like I can hear it on the phone.
That's okay. It's playing. Don't
But
worry,
anyway,
it's
yeah.
going in,
So
it's
this
going in.
dude's, right? This cop's playing, and this guy's talking shit because in the video I watched it, right? And he's just like, "Oh, I can do whatever I want. I'm within my right, First Amendment, whatever, right?" And then you have this one, same shit. Where is it? Well, it's supposed to be there. What the fuck did you do, Eric? Huh?
Hey, that's okay. I'm gonna let Paul comment on this while
All
you
right.
while you
You
look
know,
for your
I
shit.
mean,
Look for your shit. I'll let Paul
Six,
comment.
6 of one, half dozen the other. I think it's cops just playing games back with them because they
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Because
Hell
because
yeah.
reality is that in the vast majority of cases, people are being assholes, and the videos it's been shown is like overwhelmingly, it shows that the cops are sitting back and trying to be cool about things, and people are just taking the whole asshole thing to a whole new level.
Oh yeah, dude. You know what? You know, and I have friends who are cops, and they're cool fucking guys. Come on, not all cops are assholes. Most cops just want to do their job. And they want to go home to their family. They want to do the right thing. Dude, I mean, come on, not all cops are assholes.
The truth is that how are they pushed? I've yet to have any kind of a police interaction. Okay, I'll preface it. I've had cops knock me down. I've had guns stuck in me. It's because...
Did you say in you?
Into the back of my head. Ask Tyson about going lobster diving. Diving, bro.
Oh shit! So, overzealous cop. Yeah.
Well, no.
Right, take it easy, dude.
What the thing is I had my brother would use my name. So,
dude.
My license. So the license on my truck would get flagged, and so I'd be driving. And all of a sudden, a cop would go by me. And this one time with Tyson, we're going lobster diving in Dana Point. And I'm going down the road. A sheriff is going up the other way. And that sheriff just looked. And I go, shoot, we're going to get pulled. And Tyson goes, what? I go, guaranteed we're going to get pulled. And I knew it. I just knew it because it had been happening a lot. So what happened, my brother would go out and he'd be making trouble. And he'd use my name. Mm-hmm. So then we get flagged.
I hope you kicked your brother's ass for that one.
It's interesting. The long story.
Okay.
But so what happened is, we go down to the Ocean Institute down there to go jump the break wall. Cop shows up. He pulls in a minute later and he stays back. And then he comes around. When he comes up, he starts talking. And that's it. And I said, who you're looking for. I knew what he's doing there. He's like, you step back away from the truck. And Tyson was like, I'm getting my gear. And the cop's like, step back now. He already had his gun out. Oh, and I'm like, I know what this is about. And he's like, yeah, really? Great. You're the one I want to talk to. So, yeah, dude, face down, gun in the back of the neck. Go ahead. Put the cuffs on me. That's fine. I'll just sit here. I'm not going to fight. So,
exactly. Smart words right there for all you listening. So, shut the fuck up and cooperate.
Yeah. He watched the Chris Rock.
Yeah. Exactly. Everybody who watches the Chris Rock video saves themselves a bullet in the ass, in the head, or a serious fucking beating. Ass kicking, okay?
And so,
just shut the fuck up.
And so I told him, I go, the guy that you're looking for is my brother. And it's not me. And but your license is flagged as hell. And so what happened is I personally happen to own lots of funds. I have a good collection of funds, and my brother had some serious problems at that time, and so he'd use my name. So when my license comes up, they go, do I have Paul? Do I have Paul with Paul's fun? Do I have his brother in his truck with his fun? That's the one they don't want. They don't want my funds and my truck with my brother under any circumstances, right? They see that as a threat. So they have to lead with what they got. They're leading with what they got. As soon as we know what's up, cuffs come off, shakes my hand. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
See, if you shut the fuck up and you cooperate, you're not going to get fucking shot. You're not going to get a bullet in the ass.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up.
But I mean, I continually watch people, and I think the worst one that I ever had, probably we were kids, was the OC Pro riot in Huntington, right?
Oh, I was there, dude. The OP Pro.
Right.
OP Pro. I was there, dude. I was there.
We couldn't get out of their way fast enough. We had scooters. We were a mob of people running us over and people blocking us. We're trying to turn our scooters around, and the cops came in. They were already wound up and loaded for bear.
Billy clubs drawn, guns drawn, ready to fucking
Billy
pound,
clubs. It was Billy clubs and shields. So they plowed. They literally plowed us over on our mopeds, like 3 or 4 of us, and we're trying to get our mopeds out of the way, and they knocked us over and stomped on us as they walked over us on the ground.
I know, dude. We're fucking kids. We're kids.
Yeah, it was total riot control. But it's like,
my God.
We weren't doing anything quote unquote wrong, but the thing had just got out of control, and they were pushing. They were going after the mob. The people that had started it, were now in retreat mode. And so the cops are just like, I'm clearing a path, and that's it. And if you're in the path, you're getting dozered.
That's all there is to it.
I think that was about the worst of it.
Play some more of that response. Let's see what we got here.
All right. Well, here's... let me see real quick. I don't know what this one's about. But this dude just starts playing Sublime.
Okay.
Right? And I it sucks that we can't hear it.
That's all right. We'll get it repaired for next time.
But anyway, so it says officer plays music to block cell phone recordings. Let's read some of the comments, see what people have to say. The absolute worst crime committed here was confusing the Beatles with Sublime. And then somebody said Beatles. All I heard was Sublime Santeria.
Yeah, perfect.
I think that's rad.
It says the cops are interfering with their own investigation.
That's a point. Got a point. I mean,
yeah, everybody's just talking shit because I guess everybody confused this video with the other one.
oh, okay. Yeah, perfect. Right, okay. Right. So, yeah, and I honestly don't understand much of that except for the fact they're doing it just to goad the people. Just because the people are getting into their face, it's just a little stupid game of one-upmanship. Because in general, the cameras have shown repeatedly that before a cop starts swinging on anybody, they've been driven pretty hard. If you watch the videos, and if you've ever watched some of the videos of officers getting shot, every single one of them where a cop gets, run down and gets smoked, the cop was like, stop, don't do it. It literally, the problem was the cop froze. He didn't want to take action.
Okay.
He didn't want to take
everybody
physical
watching right now, you need to immediately after this show, because you want to hear the rest of this, trust me. You immediately after this show, not before, you want to go and look up Chris Rock's How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked by the Police.
Yes.
It is a very, very, very good educational video on how to survive dealing with the cops.
Yeah.
And if you are one of those guys who thinks that cops are all assholes, well, then give them the power because they have it.
Well, the thing is, just don't do stuff that's going to get you a bunch of interactions with cops, and you won't have a lot of interactions with cops in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what's funny?
Kind of funny like that.
That story that you told, or and talking about the Chris Rock thing. When I was in high school, we decided to protest. It was just a stupid Hispanic thing that was going on. I don't even remember why I did it, but I did it because my cousin was in high school with me. He was like,
Hispanic?
yeah. I don't even remember what the fuck it was.
All
but
day long in here, brother. All day long.
I remember, dude. And when I think back to it, I'm like, I can't believe I did that shit. Like, I was just a young, dumb, kid. And my cousin was like, dude, we have to do this for our people, right? And I'm like, okay, whatever, right?
Okay, here we
All
go.
right. So then,
First world,
everybody
here
fucking,
you are.
yeah,
Chill out.
Exactly. So everybody's like, jumping the school fence, ditching. That was their form of protest. We're walking around with these Mexican flags. And at some point, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking tired. I don't want to do this shit anymore, right? We're hanging around with all these degenerate assholes that I'm not even friends with. I'm going to get my ass kicked, right? And so I'm thinking logically at this point, and I'm like, all right, how much longer, right? So then we get to Leland Park, and I remember, dude, we were being chased by the police, and at this point, I think the police had lost their patience, right? Because they're out of their cars
ready
and they're
to kick some
chasing
fucking
your ass.
Of course.
So in my head, I'm
beat
thinking,
down with them.
yeah, exactly. So I'm running, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run the other way, away from the crowd, kind of turn myself in and say, you know what? I did something stupid. I followed these fucking dumbasses, right? And now I feel dumb. I just want to go back to class.
I want to go eat my McDonald's and shop at Target, motherfucker.
And the fucking cop was like, already know, right? He's like pissed off. He has two cops. He's pissed off, and he's like, treating me like I'm some fucking fuck up, right? And I'm like, dude, no, I swear to God, I'm so sorry I did this shit. I was just following my cousin, explaining myself, right? I'm following his orders. I said, you know what? I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. I just want to go back to school. I'm tired of this shit. This shit was stupid anyway. And we're driving in the car, and he's like, man, you're the only guy out of a group of 50 kids to just come out of there, turn themselves in and say, you know what, whatever. And he dropped me off in school, didn't cite me, didn't do anything, was like, you're the smarter one out of all your friends.
Lesson.
I get home, and my cousin's like, dude, I got a fucking ticket. I'm being suspended. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, there
bro,
you
and I'm
go.
like, all you had to do was cooperate.
Little cooperation.
Like,
goes
that's
a
it.
long
I'm like,
ways.
I don't even know why you were doing that shit. I can't believe I did it.
Dude, you know what? Hey, that was a great way to end this little chump story. So I'm going to intro out of this one. Yeah, bye.
Whoa.
I
What a
feel like we just
crazy thing,
went
right?
back to some underwater thing where we're like diving and it's the beautiful tropical waters and this real relaxed environment. So you know what, man? SeaSpiracy. I think the only SeaSpiracy is people pushing fucking agendas around.
Well, that's literally what it is, and it's how
Everybody's pushing
and
agendas.
really in the end, what that stuff boils down to. There's some altruistic stuff going on in each one of their mindsets, but like you follow what that guy said, and he just basically explains to you how he didn't understand any of it, and he still doesn't have a greater depth understanding. I mean, he's got a greater knowledge of what's going on, but he doesn't have a real greater understanding of what the consequences are of the other side of it.
Well,
Dude.
he's also young and he hasn't seen larger cycles.
Well, I mean, that's a big piece of it, but
I don't
it was
mean
just
the guys.
basically.
You know what I didn't like about the fucking documentary is that it didn't feel real. It felt so like
Oh,
dramatic.
it's campy,
and it's
dude.
like
That's the
it's
thing.
campy. And then when they had certain shots where he's picking up trash and he's doing all this shit, I'm like, what the fuck? This doesn't seem candid.
Right.
It seems so set up.
Right. Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's stupid.
like I do my normal thing. I just walk down to the beach and pick up a bag of trash. It's like
Yeah,
that's not your normal thing, bro.
Yeah,
It's
and when he
like,
goes
You
to
know what,
Japan, he's like, "Oh, the cops are after us," and it's like,
Right.
"I'm sure they're not."
You know,
They're
you know what,
doing
dude?
their rounds,
Everybody
but-
gives a shit. Okay, everybody gives a shit. Yeah, I blame the corporations in the end. Corporations, it's their fault.
It's your fault.
It's their fault.
well, are you buying stuff from them?
He
Yep,
is.
I'm
It's
still
your
buying
fault.
stuff from them.
Eric
It's your
shops at
fault,
Walmart
then.
every day.
The hook. I didn't get a hook stuck in my mouth. I swallowed the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's your fault, you know. So yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, that's the thing is the guy hit on every little happy note he could try and possibly hit, you know, and it's great. I mean, they piled a bunch of stuff in there, but no, not without enough, not without much substance on the backside of it, you know. Oh, we're taking all these things out. We're removing all this stuff. We're removing all these nutrients and all these. And it's like, dude, do you realize how much more stuff we put in? You're talking about all the nutrients that are coming out, and they're talking about how much whale shit fuels the earth. It's like, so there was no whales for 150 years. So what did we do without whale shit in the ocean? Oh, the ocean didn't seem to have died from that. There was 150 years of that, and now all of a sudden they're in panic mode.
Okay,
about
but that's actually a really good little microcosm. If you look at the reef, like certain little reefs, okay, I can see where like, you know, fish shit fuels the reef system, but if they're dredging or if they're taking a trawler net and scraping the whole reef, then the reef's gone too. So it doesn't really matter, right?
Right. But I mean, the thing is, when you talk about but then again, so they're talking about the nutrients of this, that, and the other thing. What's one of the biggest killers of reefs? Fertilizers, golf courses down on you go from San Diego.
Too many nutrients.
Go from exactly overabundance of man-made or man installed nutrients. You know, you get a big rainy season, and we had it here where they were closing the beaches down and stuff. Why? It's because of animal nutrients coming from where? From all the way out there in Norco, 50, 60 miles away from here, down the Santa Ana River Trail. Because when it's raining good and hard out there and it washes out, what are you doing? You're flooding out pig and goat shit.
Okay, so that's actually a good question. So we're talking about nutrients. No matter how you break
they're
it down,
saying
it's
the
still,
whales-
still a chemical process, and there's still chemicals in the water.
Right.
How in whatever combination they are, 10, 1, 20, or 30, 40, 50. I look at the the lawn fertilizer bags, and I look at these numbers like, well, what the fuck are they talking about?
Right, so
but is
you're
it really that precise?
Well, that's what I'm saying is you're telling me that whale shit feeds the reefs. And I'm saying, what about cow shit, pig shit, and all the other shit that's been hitting the
Yeah,
water?
and everything that comes down. Oh, are you saying it's too much at once? Or are you saying it's not?
Well, that's what I'm.
I mean, what's really going on here?
Right. It's an overabundance of those nutrients is bad for the reefs. We know this. I mean, that's why we get red tides and stuff.
Yeah,
And
of
again,
course.
what are red tides about? Red tides are nature's way of cleaning up that stuff. What do you think happened to the horizon, right? Deepwater
Exactly.
Horizon blew. What did
Exactly.
you have? You had a red tide that nobody's ever seen before, right?
Well, what about those luminescence tides?
That's what I'm saying. So the bioluminescence, what's coming out, that's part of your red tide. So those guys are what eat up all that stuff. Now, Deepwater Horizon went off, right? And they're freaking out. Oil's going to wash ashore and kill everything. And all of a sudden it didn't. Yeah, they had some oil get ashore, but they didn't. And then they're going, well, where did it all go? It's got to be coating the bottom of the ocean a foot thick, blah, blah, blah. It's not there. Bro, that stuff got eaten by the ocean. The warm water of the Gulf and all that phytoplankton blew through that stuff. It ate it. It devoured it. The ocean eats it.
That's
And
funny.
you-
I
and you-
remember a
yeah,
time when
yeah,
I
it
went
eats
fishing
it.
like
It's
on a charter
gone.
boat, and one of the fishermen, right? He just grabs like this fucking cardboard box and he throws it in the ocean, right? And my like young mind is like, "What are you doing?" Right? And he's like, "Dude, don't even fucking worry about it. The ocean is gonna eat that shit up, like it's nothing, like a piece of chicken in your stomach, right? That cardboard box is gonna be gone."
Yeah, nature.
And in my head, I'm thinking, "What?" You're right? My young mind couldn't understand, but he's like,
Yeah.
"Don't even worry about it, bro.
Well,
It's
I mean,
nothing."
and Deepwater Horizon is a
Okay.
perfect example of never let a crisis go to waste, right? So they panicked about that. They freaked out about it. Then the problem was they couldn't find oil. When they needed to find it to show everybody how bad it was gone, and the fishery was fine. And they're like, well, shit, even the shrimp are fine. It's like, well, the shrimp will surely have lots of oil in them. No. No. No.
Well, I think the moral of the story here is I think we underestimate nature's ability to regenerate itself.
Yeah, and that's why anybody that has any theory that you're going to do it on land the way that the ocean can do it, it's not possible.
No, terrestrial beings can't do it the same
possible,
way.
bro.
Not even close. It's
not even possible.
Because water, and if you want to get scientific about it, water is the ultimate solvent.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate solvent. And look how much fucking water there is out in the ocean.
Well, they say alcohol's not the solution, but that's a lie. Alcohol is actually a solution.
What did Homer Simpson say? The cause of and the solution to all of life's problems.
Yep.
So, quick question: why do you think Bill Gates bought all that land?
There's a bunch of guys that have bought a ton of land. I mean, Ted Turner was the biggest landowner in the United States.
But now it's Bill Gates, right? I heard it was Bill Gates.
It might be. I mean, I don't know, but Ted Turner had an ass load and a half off of it. Just because perpetual development. I mean, Bill Gates is at the end of his career. He's done a lot of philanthropic stuff, so it could be that he's going to design something, some grand design to, perhaps he's going to look at generating land for different farming issues, for energy issues or whatever. But in the end, the guys always come back to, they buy it all up, they do their thing with it, they have a bunch of wildlife, they're able to have all these other things, and they stop some things from happening. And then they develop it off, and they use it, and they burn it off for certain pieces. I mean, that's really what it boils down to, is perpetuation of wealth. That's all. Bill Gates is just moving his wealth from there. It's like, go see the cartels. What do the cartels in Mexico control now? Everything. Mining, cartels. Oil, cartels.
Government.
Fisheries, cartel. Government, cartel, right? They move the money right out of your nostrils, okay, from your wallet to your nostrils, right to them, and it goes into everything else that they got. And that's it. Farming, agriculture, mining, every single facet of it, production. They got hands in everything. They moved it. All it is just asset control. So Bill Gates doing the same thing. He just took it out of computers. He doesn't want to stay in that. He's already conquered computers, let's face it. And the guy did it, right? He's done. There's no reason to go back.
You know what, man? It's a line on a spreadsheet.
In the end, it
that
is.
shows a profitability and loss column.
Well, and
that's all it is.
Here's the thing: is all of us have an idea. If I won the lottery and I won like some ridiculous amount of money, like $350 million. Well, the answer is I'd still do the same stupid shit I do now. It should be on a grander scale, and more of my friends would be invited to go. I'd have to pay more bail money. I'd have to pay more medical bills, but it wouldn't be like we wouldn't slow down. We just keep running it, And so that's what Bill's doing. He's got FU money, and he's not young anymore. And he's going, if I want to do these things, I have these grandiose ideas. What's he going to do? Is he going to chase chicks with it? He don't care. He's past that stuff. Whatever. I don't think the guy ever got laid anyways. You know what I mean? He was too busy bookworming. So the guy had other things on his mind. So now maybe he's got that stuff. I don't think it's good, bad, or otherwise. I just think it's him trying a new chapter. And he's got to do something with it, because do you want to just give it to Uncle Scam? Because let's face it, Uncle Scam will take your money. And that's what all these guys do anyways with farming and all these other things, are giant landholders. In the end, it always winds up being a tax shelter. It always winds up being a way to pool some money. They can always carve off
save more money so I can save more money.
Yeah. I mean, so that's a lot of that. So, I mean, maybe the guy's got some grand vision for other stuff. Perhaps even when he's gone, it'll still carry on. Because there are institutions that have done some of that stuff, I mean.
Well, I'll tell you what, okay? You want to talk about, let's go back to the SeaSpiracy thing, okay? Do your homework, all right? You can listen to Paul, you can listen to me, you can listen to Jorge over here, okay? We have our opinions, but we also have some decades of experience on us. Do your homework. Read. Talk to people. Get involved in groups that deal with what's happening in these microcosms and the macrocosms. You gotta get your mind into it, and don't always take everything you see for face value.
You want to hear somebody give a really good small dissertation about it that's very well informed, and he's a high-level guy, is Dr. Ray Hilborn. Look up Dr. Ray Hilborn's talk about SeaSpiracy and see what he said. Now, Dr. Ray Hilborn is one of our premier fisheries management guys.
Okay,
fisheries
listen to that
management
again. Listen to
biologists.
that again. Say that again, Paul.
So if you want to see a really good quick breakdown on it, look up Dr. Ray Hilborn and see what he's got to say about SeaSpiracy. It's very concise to the point. He hits on the facts. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's well-versed. He's probably, him and Dr. Milton Love are probably our two best fisheries man. That's the one. Yeah.
Pull him up on there.
So, yeah, is no contest as to what he's talking about. Some of the stuff, yeah, there's problems, right? I mean, we got, it's a good thing we banned straws. We got a couple of cocaine-addicted turtles out there. They can't snort the dope anymore. So,
right.
So we got no more straws. So that's good. We saved them. And, we got other stuff
I thank
to work
you,
on.
Paul, for that one.
Yeah.
No, okay. Did you find him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we won't be able to hear him, so...
That's okay. This is the guy right here, okay?
Oh, this is just a fact that he was saying, how fishing isn't, right? It's been going on forever.
Yeah.
And it's not as bad as they make it seem in SeaSpiracy. But this fact right here, right? It says the world's oldest fish hook has been unearthed at a site in East Timor, alongside evidence that modern humans were catching fish from the open ocean as far back as 42,000 years ago. Wow.
Digest that shit for a second, okay? 42,000 years ago?
And it says in 2016, fisheries and aquaculture produced roughly 171 million tons of fish, with a first sale value estimated at 362 billion, generating over 152 billion in exports, with 54% originating in developing countries.
Right.
Hey, Paul, help us get this guy on, could you?
He's in Washington.
Yeah, bro.
Don't roll your eyes. You're the man, dude. You can make this happen. I know you can. Come on, man.
If
I could get him to come to a Fathomeers meeting, that would be insane.
He would blow some minds, wouldn't he?
He's the best.
Look at what he says about palm oil. Oh, it's like you read it, Eric. Palm oil has been and continues to be a major driver of deforestation. Oh my God.
Deforestation.
Sorry, it's the beer. Of some of the world's most biodiverse. Oh my God.
Biodiverse?
Jesus
Slow down,
Christ.
Poppy. Slow down,
somebody
Poppy.
else read this.
Paul, can you help this fucker out, please?
I'm blind right now.
I am too.
Palm oil has been and continues to be a major driver of deforestation.
Deforested Asians.
Shut the front door.
Deforested Asians. Jesus
Deforested
Christ.
Asians.
Oh no.
Deforestation.
Deforestation.
Shut up,
I have a
dude.
list.
Dude, you're fired. You're totally
This
fired.
I have a
is
list.
so good.
Dude.
Anyway, you read it, Eric.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Someone said Eric read it?
Yes.
Okay. Palm oil has been and continues to be a major driver of deforestation.
Yeah. That's what I fucking thought.
He's all hung up on it.
Deforestation.
Okay, let me try again. Okay. A major driver of deforestation of some of the world's most biodiverse forests, destroying the habitat of already endangered species like the orangutan, pygmy elephant, and Sumatran rhino.
There you go.
Right.
Palm oil.
Palm oil.
Palm oil.
The
Palm
shit
oil.
that's in
That's
your
it.
Nutella.
Yeah,
Right,
dude.
exactly.
There are evils everywhere. Human population. That's the key. Manage human population.
Soylent Green, brother.
Yeah, soy and green, and suddenly,
coming.
all of a sudden, I think Bill Gates is onto something. Okay,
It's coming.
all of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Paul? I had a fucking rad time.
Right
We
on.
had a rad time. Thank you so much.
No sweat.
And you guys, everyone that's still kind of listening, make sure you subscribe because, we want to keep this going and you want to keep this going and we want to be liked and you want to be liked and we're going to like you back. Okay, so there it is.
Hey,
what?
deforestation.
Yeah, got it.
Bravo.
I'm like,
oh
look
my
at-
goodness, there's
Your-
hope for the dear
Your
lad.
goal is next week to have something where the focus is distillation. See if
Yeah,
that doesn't fuck him
distillation,
up too.
right? Okay,
Just wreck
exactly.
this guy out. Just find anything you can like that. Just start torture chambering him.
Oh,
George,
my-
George,
no.
you read this, and he's just gonna start sweating. He's gonna be like,
Hey,
Deforestation, my friend.
I asked Joe to come on.
Farlow,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
That will be a lot of fun. So Joe, get your shit together. Give me a shout. Let's make a Wednesday because everybody's gonna love it. Let's do it. All right, you guys. Mike on a platter. Paul Romanowski. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate all you guys for supporting us. And
thanks for the guys of Spear America, and congratulations
Spear
to Dave
America.
Freeman on their new baby.
Yes,
Very cool. Happy
Nice.
for him.
very much so. Hey guys, thank you so much. Hey, can you pull up Spear America's website so we can give them a proper shout out?
You mean Spear America?
Yeah, pull up Spear America.
Their Instagram or their website?
Just as long as we give them some kind of credit.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
here.
We gotta put the logo on there or something.
Well, it's
All right,
on there.
Let me put on. There's the website, Spear America. Okay, Spear America. These guys have become
Take really good care of us.
They take great care of us. They take great care of the spearfishing community.
Is Petros?
They're good friends. Petros and Dave, yes, great guys, absolutely great guys. And what they have done in the community and the spearfishing community
Opened up our local diving for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Gear
Hey,
that's
look, Eric, there's your
accessible.
boy, Johnny Ellis.
Hey, there's Johnny Ellis right there. Nice.
Who's that guy?
That's Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Yep.
Who's that guy on the left?
Arr.
And the guy on the right? You don't know?
Is that Thomas? Mike Thomas? No.
No.
No, it doesn't look like Mike Thomas.
Not sure.
Okay. What kind of fish is that?
African Pompano.
Oh, man. And what kind of fish is that?
That's a white sea bass.
Was that Eric Buss with that fish, or was that somebody else?
This one?
Is it Eric
No,
Buss?
it's not
no.
Buss.
No, okay, it looks like Buss. Anyways.
What kind of fish is that?
That's a rock cod. That's a red rock cod, a vermilion rockfish.
That one?
Cabezon,
That one?
yellowtail,
That one?
bluefin tuna,
Oh. Yellowtail?
yellowtail.
I guess that's it.
You ever feel
Oh,
like you're
that one?
playing Jeopardy
Bluefin.
and you got the nerd in the corner that knows every
Wahoo.
fucking fish?
Wahoo. Wow, I didn't know wahoos
Actually, the
were
nerd
that
in the
big.
center that knows every
Dude,
fish.
the biggest wahoo are like upwards of 200 pounds, bro.
Oh, shit.
Oh, torpedoes. Torpedoes, bro. Yeah, big fish.
That one?
Calico bass.
Hey, who's that?
What's the best tasting
Hey, who's that,
fish?
Paul?
That was Lauren.
Lauren? Is white sea bass the
Kyle
best
Parker,
tasting
that's a moo.
tasting fish?
No, that moo right there is a lot better than a white sea bass if I got my
Really?
choice. Yeah.
Oh man.
Sea bass
okay.
are great just because they're giant and they're like, big and they're close to shore and we can get it. We can access them easily, but like wahoo is better. There's a lot of fish that are better if you really want to brass tack it. I'd rather eat rockfish. I'd rather eat reds than I would white sea bass.
Dang.
It's a great fish.
Yeah.
Look at that thing.
All right, so anyways, the point being, there's a lot of beautiful pictures on Spear America's Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not the
Speargrams.
only one, motherfucker.
Speargrams. Yeah, 2 beers in. Okay, so Spear America, check out their Instagram and go shop at their store. These guys are just been great supporters of what we do. And we want to say thanks to Paul. Make sure you like and subscribe. We got more coming.
Lauren.
Dr. Joe Farlow is going to come on. I'm going to drag his ass down here. He will be here. And
Lauren?
hey, dude, we're not on anymore.
Why is Lauren on there all the time?
Sends in a lot of pictures. If you don't send
Well,
pictures
there you
in,
go.
you
Yeah,
don't
hey,
get
if you,
pictures
I
on the
know.
board.
Yeah, that's
Why'd you do that,
exactly
Eric?
it.
Huh?
Because
That's
I'm
how it
lazy.
works.
What was that? Hey,
Grouper,
look at who
Richie.
it is.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Hey, who's that guy right there? I
Dude,
know
he
that
was,
guy.
like, on one of our first episodes.
Oh yeah, Richie came in. That was
Richie.
so much fun, dude.
See Holland?
Johnny Walker Black Label. All right, dude. I'm trying to end the show and you keep scrolling through the shit, so I'm gonna end it right now.
Kill
Okay.
him.
All right, dude. Hey, you guys. Thanks so much. Subscribe, like. Thank you. Come back again.
Who's that
Hey.
guy? Just kidding. Look at him.